do much better. Yes. So many times people have come to us and said, I think I'm interested in selling my home and I either want to upgrade or I want to downsize. And they're like, how in the world do we put these pieces of the puzzle together? Do I list my home first? Do I find a home first and put a contract on that and make it contingent upon my home selling? And it's like, what does that look like as far as timing and finances and just the emotional piece of making a move? So welcome to Breakfast with Bev this morning. I'm Bev Curtis here at Bev & Co. at House of Brokers.
Good morning, I'm Kenny Hubble with Bev & Co.
And we're here this morning, we're going to talk about how do we put those pieces of the puzzle together when you want to buy and when you want to sell and what's going to be best for your current situation. So I'm going to kind of let Kenny start off and say, okay, Kenny, I'm a seller, and I call you up and say, Kenny, I am ready to sell my home. I want to find another home. What do I do first?
Happy to be able to do that. I think it's a great conversation piece to be able to share with our clients and the public to be able to know, because we get this question all the time. I'm interested in, I'm ready to move, but the inventory, because we talked about the inventory last week as far as being low inventory and knowing as far as what's out there. So you're in a situation where we need to be able to really question about what is it that your motivation is. Because what your goal is what our job with Bev & Co. is to be able to help you assist with that. And we always like to talk about we're a team. Mm-hmm. And we're the team process of being able to, the Bev & Co. team, being able to go to work for you as the homeowner and the process of helping you buy a house. So really step one, in my opinion, is to be able to find out really what your end goal is, and if that is to get more space, or if it's to downsize, or if it's a need for moving because you're of a work situation. So it really depends on your specific situation on which way you go. But the number one thing that we talk about is making sure that we're asking questions of our clients to be able to know what their goal is. And then we start talking about leverage. So if we were talking about listing their home first, Bev, why don't you talk to us about, okay, if we're going to list your home first instead of trying to buy, how does that look?
So I think a lot of it is the question that we always ask is, what is more important to you, time or money? And that kind of starts the stage as far as how we go in and assess your home. Because some people want to sell for convenience, and they don't want to do as much prep work as maybe they could or should to get the top dollar. But it's always about, let's get to the basics here. Real estate is emotional. It is all about timing in life. It's about finances in life. And it's something that it's disruptive. It's very disruptive. So, and right now it's a trickier situation because if you're homeschooling, then it's kind of like, oh boy, we throw a whole nother layer in the mix that we weren't used to dealing with before. So normally when a person says, I want to sell, we would come out, do a home assessment, and literally size up the home to see what are the things that needs to be done that I would kind of call in the mandatory category as far as prepping your home for sale. Some things are kind of the mandatory and some things are the would be nice to do. And that's where we have to kind of size up too. What's the financial picture look like? Because some people may not have the time or the expenses, as far as the financial means of it, to do the improvements that might need to be done. So from there, we're going to go room by room, kind of make a list. We're going to prioritize depending on the person's situation, form what's called a market analysis, which is going to tell us what's exactly on the market now, what has recently sold within the last 6 to 8 months, and what maybe was on the market that expired and for some reason did not sell. Because that's going to give us the true picture of where we are from a financial pricing strategy.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the next step at that point in time is we're talking about, okay, that's kind of the best thing that we can do for the top dollar on your house. Mm-hmm. But before we take the next step, one of the things that we like to be able to do is let's talk about what's out there. So you're looking to move, and so before we actually talk about time frame on listing your house, that we take time to be able to make sure that there's something on the market currently, or things that potentially could be a fit for you and your family on moving forward. So we like to be able to, at that point in time, you eliminate houses is how you find a house. So we eliminate both online by you being able to go through and taking out and picking which properties that you might have interest in, and then we actually go take a look. So even though we got the COVID and we have the procedures and the precautions that we take, we still are taking those. And so for showings, that will happen on your house, and as well as we'll just be able to start the process on buying. And that's really where we talk about that leverage as far as what is going to be best for you to be able to find a house, to be able to put a contingency in place, and a contingency meaning that we make your offer, if you find the house that you want to be able to move to, we make your offer contingent upon your current home selling. And so that becomes what we call a contingency offer. And so you'll have an opportunity to be able to really be kind of a first right of refusal is one of the terms that we always talk about with that. A first right of refusal on that home that you like, and you'll be able to have a chance to buy that as long as we can get your current home sold. So basically you're going out, you're finding the house, and Bev mentioned that it's emotional. So what you've just done by doing that step is to be able to kind of set yourself up for, hey, this is the house I want. Now I have some stress factors involved. Can I get my home sold in time? So that's why what Bev talked about the first time, we need to get your home ready and kind of have it ready to go on the market. So we have all that set in place before you fall in love with your next house. So we kind of get your home ready for the market, regardless if you're going to put it on the market now or wait till you find a house, but get it ready so that way when we find that home that you want, we're able to put it on the market within that first day or two, as opposed to having to wait 2 weeks after you found the home in order to be able to, you have that much less of a chance to be able to get that home that you're looking for. So I think those are really the first two steps that really is the best thing to do is take is one, let us come out, let us do an evaluation about what might be needed and or give you an idea about the market as far as your value is concerned of the price of your home, your current home. And then we'll talk about the other homes that you're going to go and take a look at. And so we certainly can take a look at those homes before you have the work performed, but to be able to make that contingency offer, we really think it's best as far as that leverage is concerned. You actually get more leverage involved by saying my house is on the market and I have it available for sale, and now you're making your offer. And the seller on the other side of things will really look positive towards your offer, knowing that it's there, they know what it is. And then we can be able to think about, well, maybe the seller would be willing to do a trade. So talk to us, and I know that we've talked about that before, but that's kind of where we could be able to go that. Talk about how trade works, Beth.
Well, many times what the situation would be, especially if it's new construction, doesn't always have to be, but it seems like that's when it's most popular, is let's say you find a new construction home, for example, that you want to move to, and usually the rule of thumb is most builders are willing to look, if they're willing to look at a trade at all. Some are not. I know we work with Pate Jones quite a bit, and kind of their rule of thumb is, let's just say you were looking to purchase a $400,000 home, then they would look at something that would be half value of the purchase price. So if you had, say, a $200,000 or maybe a $225,000, somewhere in that range, say a slab home that you wanted to trade in on the new construction home, then we would do what's called a simultaneous close. And what that looks like is you would write an offer to them purchasing their home, and it would be contingent upon them purchasing your home. They would write a contract then on your home with the same type of terms that each have to close on the same day. It is contingent, obviously, on the buyer getting their financing. It's also contingent upon satisfactory inspections. And usually in a trade, what a person, the builder, or say it's a seller, because it could be on an existing home situation as well, they're going to ask of you, if you're the one putting the trade up, you're the one turning your home over to them to buy the new house, they're going to ask you to go ahead and perform those inspections on your home so that they know what the true health of your home is, and you would negotiate those inspection items out just the same way you would as if it was just a straight out, selling of your home. So most of the process is almost identical. It's just you have a buyer and a seller that's willing to purchase each other's property for the benefit of one another. And so that is something that's very common. And then another option is, there is the opportunity sometimes to get a bridge loan. And that really depends on your financial strength, how much equity you currently have in your home. And I would say, what is your willingness as far as the risk factor side of it? Do you want to kind of comment on that one?
Yeah, so that's kind of about that leverage. What is your risk factor? So the trade would be the best case scenario for you as the homeowner, potentially. But you could lose some money that way. And so that's why if you list the property for sale, that at the highest top dollar, that's really the top dollar that you can get. So trade is the most convenient for you as far as it takes a lot of that stress factor out as far as, okay, am I going to be able to get the house or am I not? But if you end up putting the house on the market and you got a contingency offer in place on finding on the house that you've found and you located, then that's where that bridge loan can come into play to be able to make that happen. And then you also have the concept about being able to, and the way the bridge loan works is you have it in place to make sure that you have the parameters set in place with your lender. So that way if you get kicked out, meaning that a second buyer came along for that house that you wanted, but you just did not want to lose it, you're taking the risk about being able to have both homes. And that's where we come together as part of the team about being able to assist you as far as a team to be able to get your home sold. Do we think we're going to be able to get it sold for you within a reasonable amount of time, a month or two, to be able to make that work? So you don't have an exorbitant amount of expenses. Because with a bridge loan, you got your new loan for the new house that you have, and you'd have to qualify for that. Plus, you don't have your other home sold yet, so you still have to qualify with having your current mortgage payment, if that's applicable. And then you have the bridge loan, which is basically taking the equity out of your first home in order to be able to use for your down payment for the second home. So we really have 3 loans that you have in place whenever you do that. So that's why it's called a bridge. You're taking your equity from your first house and you're pulling that out to be able to use, and that's where that bridge concept comes from. You're just a short period of time doing a span of a short period to be able to utilize those funds for the next house. And so you really have to qualify for all 3, and we don't necessarily need to get into the qualification process. You want to talk to your lender about that. But you will have to qualify for all 3, and there's some risk factors involved there. But that's where we're here to be able to help and assist with that process, to be able to make sure that is this the right thing to do? And we talk about this up front whenever we talk to you as far as this is what your goal is, and be able to make sure that that's an option, because it really will keep you from losing that home that you've really identified, and for us to be able to have time to get your home sold. So it may not be as expensive as a trade in the long run, depending on how much of a discount the builder or the other homeowner would want to be able to take your home in on trade. So a couple of the good ideas as far as either trade, bridge loan, we got storage expense if we have to be able to put your house stuff in storage if your home sells too quick before you actually find the house. Lots of different avenues associated with buying and selling at the same time. But that's what we're here for, and we've been doing this for a long time, and we're very experienced about it, to be able to walk you through the process. Because like Bev mentioned, it is an emotional process with selling, and it's our job to make sure that it's certainly okay to have emotions about it. And that's what our job as the professionals, to be able to walk you through the steps and walk you through the process to be able to make sure that it runs smooth and we're part of a team. So that's kind of the deal. Like, we're here to be able to take, and we don't know all of the bumps in the road that might come up, but we're going to be able to prepare you for most of them. And so we would look forward to the opportunity to assist you with that process. And if you were interested in being able to learn more about these steps about buying and selling, I know we're going to have a blog post coming up. You can certainly be able to take a look at that. Otherwise, if you want to give us a call, we'll be happy to come out and walk you through the process, because this is what we do, and it excites us to be able to share our ideas. And really, that's what we're talking about. Is it comes with different ideas, and different situations become different, criteria that might need to work for you and your family. So if we can be of assistance, give Bev & Co a call. We're here to be able to assist you.
And just kind of one final note too, just want to let you know that we do home visits, guys, all the time. It doesn't mean you have to sell now or even in the very near future. If you're wanting to know home improvements, what should I do to prepare my home to sell down the road. Is this a good idea or a bad idea? We're here as a resource for you through your whole home buying and living in your home process. So don't hesitate to reach out to us, because if you can do projects along the way, each year pick a project to do and kind of keep your home in a prepared state, because life happens and you just never know when you might have to make a move. But if you have time and you can prepare where it's not just kind of ganging up on you at the last minute when you have to put your home on the market quickly, it eliminates so much stress and it makes the process that much easier. So just kind of a helpful tip to think about. So thank you guys very much for joining in. Hope you guys have a great, safe Halloween weekend, and we'll see you next week.